Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I want to talk to you about the narcissists and how they are consumers and how we are the suppliers. So let's jump in. I also wanted to talk about the state of emotions and having balanced emotions. The narcissists they're just takers, or they're just the consumer, and you are the supplier. We're also looked at as the builder, and they're the destroyer. So all they do is they take and they consume. They take all the resources, they consume them, they steal them, but they don't even create them. They're not the ones with the new ideas, but they steal the new ideas and claim them to be their own new ideas when they're not. And they always show up to do everything the cheap way, to steal, to thieve. Just like when they're living in humanity, they're not at all like us, because they have dark energy attachment and they have sacrificed the true self for the false self, and they can't generate any of the fruits of the spirit. So out of the emotional state of being, they can only generate the evil type emotions: hatred, get back, jealousy, greed, envy, sadistic, malignant type energy. So they can't get to where they could generate equal reciprocity. That would mean you can be we're all partially consumers, right? But we also have the ability to generate the supply for our own consumption, which means we can be independent. The narcissist isn't independent, they're codependent, and they're completely codependent, which means you cannot generate your own independence, which means you cannot generate your own supply for the consumption needs that you have. And they have gotten so insatiable with it because they're dealing with dark energy attachment. And when you're dealing with dark energy attachment and you're a reprobate, where you are just evil and a lie and a thief, envious, jealous of others, the reprobate with dark energy attachment is just a consumer. And they cannot generate any goodness, because if you're the lie and you sacrificed your truth, then you can't generate love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, goodness, and self-control, all those fruits. But all you can generate is greed, envy, get back, disgust, and greed. Those types of emotions. You will never be able to get people that do generate it to give to you. So they have to steal people's energy or their aura. And that's why they do what they do. And they call it supply. Supply is they take your fruits. Those are the 9 fruits of the spirit, or anything that you generate is stuff they cannot generate, even if they wanted to, really. Because when you're a reprobate, you're stuck in cycling of negativity permanently, and you enjoy it. And you can't really repent because you can't feel love, and you're not any truth in you. If there's no truth in you, then how do you repent? How do you repent to God, and how do you repent to others? How do you apologize or forgive truly? You can't. You got to fake it. So they need that fuel to wear it, so they can get people with true generating supply and take it from them more. So take the next amount of supply. So they wear supply so they can garner supply. But they never give, because they can't generate anything. And anything that they get, it's almost like they don't know how to give it, or they're too greedy of giving it. That's the deal. They're too focused on taking. And that's why they're in a fight or flight type mentality, or a lack mentality, because they're always concentrating on taking and never giving. And they're insatiable. That's why they will sleep with anybody and lie or cheat and steal from anybody. They don't believe in reciprocity. And to truly have reciprocity, you have to be somebody who is a supplier and a consumer, which means you're balanced. You're balanced. You have the ability, of course, we all consume because we're humanity. We're going to need things, but we're also going to be able to generate things. There's a balance to it. When it comes to the narcissist, we're just suppliers. That's all we do for them. And all they do is consume. They're consumers, and that's it. So we build the product, and they take the product and they eat the product, drink the product, and just create trash. Because what's left over after the product's been used is just the wrapper. And that's kind of what you're dealing with. You're dealing with somebody who can never give you anything. And what they do give you in exchange for your 9 fruits of the spirit and your aura, because they have to imitate humanity. Because if they couldn't imitate humanity, they would never, ever get new suppliers. That's the deal. It's like if they were hitchhiking and when your car ran out of gas, they just get out of your car and hitchhike for the next car and get in that one. Use them as a free ride. And then the same thing happens when that car runs out of gas. They just keep hitchhiking. They're aloof. They're vagabonds, or whatever they would call somebody who is just going from one thing to the next, like a parasite. The deal is with cycling or different situations. So when it comes to emotions, it's good to follow your emotions if they're balanced. When it comes to the narcissist, you have to be head over heart. So you have to be logical, especially when you're caught up in the middle of it and you're unhealed and they have been corded up to you. To break away from that situation, you have to be logical because your emotional state has been hijacked already. It's good to live from your emotional state if you are balanced with it. You know what a narcissist is, and you know what an abuser looks like and how they act and operate in the red flags. And you're coming from a state of being healed. You don't walk in ego, but in humility, and you walk with authenticity. It's okay to walk in the balance of listening to your emotions, because that'll tell you how you truly feel. But when you're imbalanced, then when you're following certain emotions, those emotions will tell you the wrong thing. Those emotions will tell you the wrong thing. Because if you're unbalanced or out of balance, you're going to listen to emotions that are dealing with fear and pride, and you're going to constantly make the wrong decisions based on certain emotions because you're not healed. So that's where you'll start to cycle, is when your emotions are not in balance and they're not coming from a healed state. They're coming from an injured state or an unhealed childhood wound type state. You're going to constantly cycle certain types of ways, and you may not even know you're doing it, or you may feel like it's right, but your emotions are off based on your past experiences, and you haven't gone in to try to heal them or correct them, to find the right balance for those types of emotions or those situations, so you'll end up constantly cycling the same way. Only when you make change to those out of balance emotions will you be able to live from your emotional state and make good decisions. But you know, when you get balanced, it's to the point where your logic is gonna be even, or it's gonna agree with your emotional state. And that's the thing. You're gonna be, what you're thinking and what you're feeling will genuinely go together. generally go together because they're balanced and they're in tune and in line with each other. So they're going to vibrate the same. When a narcissist comes into your life, they separate, cause everything to get imbalanced with each other. It's like your emotions don't match your thinking, your logic. So your logic doesn't match your emotions. So it's double-mindedness. Double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, it says in the word. And that's where that comes from. It comes when you're dealing with demonic activity or dark energy attachment, when you're dealing with your own unhealed wound, a state of unhealed wounds, then you're also going to be dealing with some forms of dark energy because it's unhealed. And until you agree to face it in the mirror and to deal with the circumstances that come with it, then only will you be able to find healing. And that's a tough road to go down. Some people call it the dark night of the soul, where you face yourself and see it for what it is, and you see how you've been operating, and in the dark ways that you've been operating that maybe weren't fair to people, or weren't really fair to yourself either. They weren't justice for you or for other people. But in the end, it affects everybody, you and them. So you start to realize it doesn't make sense to continue down this road. I need to put the hard work in and make true change so that my future can be established. Thank you for watching.